Yes, it's only March, but I think Auburn's quarterbacks, it may be worth getting excited about. We'll tell you why on today's Locked On Auburn.
Zach, I actually just finished crushing some chicken farm, and I am freaking ready to rock and roll.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. It's a Charlie Tuesday as we are joined by Auburn message board legend, Charlie 5 himself. And I always say going into it, I'm not going to do this to myself, Charlie 5. I'm not going to overreact spring practice, but I can't help myself with what we saw and what we're hearing about the quarterbacks on March 21st as we talk about it on March 22nd. But let's dive into these quarterbacks. And I mean,
let's do it, man.
By all accounts, it seemed like TJ Finley was pretty sharp Monday afternoon.
It did. There's different people saying from their untrained eye, he was the most impressive. I've seen stuff that talked about during the passing drills. He went 23 of 25, which is, accuracy was his big deal last year. So that's huge. That's exciting. That's exciting. Have they fixed his mechanical flaws? Has he got sort of got it figured out? Developing. Right. What does that mean? But going 23 or 25 against air is good.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You absolutely take that. And then so TJ worked with the ones. Dee Davis and Robbie Ashford worked with the twos, and then Holden Geriner had the threes kind of all by himself there. But then after some skeleton stuff, they went to this throw on the run drill, and it seems like who had it? Jeffrey Lee posted a really good video of it. Check that out, Auburn Live's Jeffrey Lee. But he videoed pretty much the whole thing. And to me, and I kind of agree with a lot of the folks saying, like, it seemed like TJ Finley was the sharpest. He was money in that drill. And there were a lot of other guys that were just a little bit off, and then they'd had some really good throws to kind of get it. And what they were doing is they were running, if you hadn't seen the video, they were running towards kind of rolling out and then towards a basket, a target. And TJ Finley was hitting it from a decent range. So I thought that was encouraging.
Yeah, and then the talk about Ashford too is encouraging because everybody kind of has pretty much written him off before he's even gotten here, and like I've heard nothing but good things about him since there. I think the biggest thing that everybody's surprised about is accuracy. That seems to be the theme. I mean, Holden Geriner was running with the third team, and he was like perfect. He was 13 of 13, just throwing dimes. I think he hit two dudes right in the hands that they dropped him, but I think they just said we're counting those because you hit them right in the hands. So the only negative, I think Dee Davis struggled a tad at times from what I'm seeing. Said he went 4 of 7 in his period and had some pretty bad misses, but they didn't see a ton, so they couldn't get really a full taste of everything. It was basically just that period that they had to see. But for the most part, all great things about quarterbacks, which was a big weakness, has been a weakness for quite a while.
And it's early, like we said. There's still so much to go. And the guy that a lot of people are thinking is going to be the starter, or has a good chance to be the starter, isn't participating in any of this, not competing in any of this. Of course, we're talking about Zach Calzada here. So that's something that is going to be encouraging as we go throughout spring. Because I think the best thing for Auburn is for TJ or Ashford or Dee Davis, whoever it is, separates themselves, and then they have to continue to kind of hold off Zach Calzada in the fall. I think that's kind of what we need to be looking at. And it's still too early to say one way or the other if that's happening or not. But I think we're on the right path.
Yeah, I think it's just like you said. It's going to be hard, I think, for any of them to I just feel, and it's going to be hard. They're going to have to do a lot, but you're to unseat that. But I think you're right. One of them at least needs to step up now, so they get to have a true like one-on-one type battle, because they're going to give Zach every opportunity when he comes back and he's healthy. They're going to give him every opportunity. So you need to be already ahead of the game. You need to be ahead of everybody else, so that you're right there with him for that battle. But it's good to hear. It's good to hear accuracy positives on TJ. That is very, very exciting, because, man, I still say if you can get a 6'7", get the light to flip on, you've got something. You've got something.
I'm there with you, man. If he can put it all together, I like his traits. I think he has. I mean, obviously, you love the size. You love that he can launch it. It's just, is the processing there, and is the footwork there?
And he will sit in that pocket until the cows come home.
But you don't have to worry about leaving the pocket for no reason. No. That is a thing of the past if this is TJ Finley's job.
Nope.
And there's obviously pros and cons to that. But I think in Brian Harsin's system, I think it's a net positive, especially if Auburn has guys that take a while to get open. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But as of right now, I think TJ Finley is off to a great start to this spring. And I think that should be something that Auburn fans be excited about. As far as the folks blocking in front of them, in just a moment, Charlie 5 thought that some of the personnel decisions with the first team offensive line and the second team offensive line from yesterday were interesting and intriguing. But I want to tell you about Stat Hero. Look, I know you guys don't want to hear about March Madness right now, because obviously that was rough. What we all went through was rough. And, hopefully we have an exciting offseason. But March Madness is not over if you're like me and had Auburn winning it all in your bracket. I had Auburn beating Kentucky. So that was a rough one for my bracket. But I'm still enjoying March Madness because of our friends at Stat Hero. Stat Hero's NCAA single game pick'ems. They pit the star players against each other, and it's a lot of fun. Highly encourage you to check it out. It's the easiest way to get your sports fix, and it's got simple, sleek gameplay that will have you playing in minutes. It's what daily fantasy sports needs to be. So go to stathero.com/lockedon and use promo code lockedon to get a 100% bonus on your deposit. That is stathero.com/lockedon. Use promo code lockedon. Charlie 5, the offensive line. First team from left to right. Austin Troxell left tackle. Cam Stutz at left guard. Nick Brahms at center. Keandre Jones at right guard. And Alec Jackson at right tackle. What stands out about that group other than no Brandon Council?
Yeah, the Alec Jackson at right off the bat. Austin Troxell's been consistent through all the drills that we've been able to see at left tackle. Obviously, Nick Brahms there at center. Keandre Jones is right there at right guard. Nobody's beating him out. But Alec Jackson slide in there at right tackle over, a Killian Zaire or Brendan Coffey. That kind of jumps out to me. And it was pretty consistent throughout the practice. As a matter of fact, Killian rotated in behind Alex, not over there, I think, on the no, it said he rotated in at left tackle. I apologize.
Okay.
Killian rotated in at left tackle, and then Jaleel Irvin rotated in at center with that same group. So they did a little mix and matching. But I tell you what, the consistency of Austin Troxell at left tackle is that's good to see. Maybe he's fully healthy and he's ready to go. He's a big boy.
The inconsistency with a similar personnel at right tackle.
What about you? What stood out to you?
Yeah, I think our connection, if this sounds funny, I think our connection is lagging a little bit there. But yeah, as far as right tackle, Charlie 5, I think folks kind of not being consistent at right tackle, I think that's a question mark. And we knew that going into it. And still, I think tackle is going to be one of the positions that Auburn is still going to be pursuing in the transfer portal when spring is over. And I think right tackle will be kind of the main objective, is trying to find out who that is.
Yeah, that's the way. You're right. That is one that we've seen a few different names float in and out there at right tackle. So I think that's you're all over that. I think that in the portal.
Yeah, Alec Jackson at right tackle is odd. I just don't really see a chance of that happening. I would think that Zaire or Brendan Coffey would slide in before that, but it's spring. They need to see as many different looks as possible. In the twos, you mentioned the guys rotating in, but in the twos, it was from left to right. Brendan Coffey at left tackle, Jeremiah Wright at left guard, Tate Johnson at center, Colby Smith, the young guy, at right guard, and Garner Langlow at right tackle. I love two young guys being the right side of that backup offensive line. I love that.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Colby Smith at right guard. I thought Garner Langlow was more of a guard prospect than Colby. I mean, he's 6'8".
Flipped.
Yeah, 6'8", 340-ish Colby on the inside. But, hey, that's a lot of men. That's a lot of man on the right side of that line right there.
Yeah.
I was a little bit bummed to see Jeremiah Wright still on the offensive side of the ball. I just thought he could be such a beast at nose tackle. But you know what? We need the depth, so he can play. He's that athletic. He can play both ways.
Yeah. I just, is he going to play on the defensive side? I mean, would he if he moved over? Surely there's a reason for that. But,
he was one of those
Yeah, I mean, this time of year ago, we heard so many different things. Right, exactly. A spring fling, and now, he recovers from his injury that he suffered a year ago, and they're like, "Yep, he's back on offense." It's like, man, I thought we had something special there.
Yeah, we had something brewing.
Oh well. So yeah,
maybe it's still, it's still
okay. Yep, that's right. So that's the offensive line. As far as wide receiver, I don't think anything super crazy here. Before we list the ones and twos, though, you will notice no Javarius Johnson. And Brian Harsin has asked media to not report on players who are not participating. Don't focus on that. But I feel like it's okay because Ike Hilliard said that Javarius Johnson is not currently practicing, but they're expecting him back soon. So if a member of the coaching staff can say it, I assume we can say it. So there's that. That's a bummer. But so in the ones, you had Shedrick Jackson, Malcolm Johnson Jr., and Tavarish Dawson, which is a reasonable group. I would imagine if Javarius Johnson was practicing, Tavarish Dawson would either rotate in or be scooted down to the twos. That's just my guess as far as role goes. But I kind of like this because we know what Javarius Johnson is, and we need other people to step up. And I think the number one reps for Tavarish Dawson are pretty stinking valuable. And as far as making your offense better, I don't hate it. I think it's great.
You know what I love?
Tell me.
Speed. Hot, nasty, badass speed. That's what I like.
Yep.
Malcolm Johnson Jr., Tavarish Dawson, and going to have Javarius Johnson when he comes back. There is some speed on the edges and on the inside there. And then you got your steady possession guy in Shedrick Jackson. And supposedly Shedrick runs one of the faster 40s of the wide receivers too. So seems like we got a bunch of guys that can stretch the field, and that excites me.
Yeah, I think Shed is pretty athletic and pretty strong. It's just, I don't know, man. I just don't know why it looks so slow. I just don't get it.
He's just so jacked. I don't know. I'm with you though. But they turn in 40s, and he's always like one of the fastest times when they turn in 40s.
Yeah, I did an article with auburndaily.com a few weeks ago about Shed Jackson and kind of making the argument of, looking at some of the analytics and how if he was used a little bit differently, he may pop a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I've talked myself into the fact of I think he can do it. It's just at times he's asked to be a number one. I say this all the time, and he should be like a number three. I just think he should be a number three in this offense, but he's the most consistent guy that Auburn has right now. And so that's just kind of where we're at. At the number twos of the wide receiver spot, Charlie 5, Zevion Capers and Jay Fair. Jay Fair operating out of the slot with the twos. I wasn't fully expecting that. But
have you watched his highlight film?
Yes. When he committed, I watched it.
Oh, he is electric. I think he is to me, I think he's a prototype slot. Like he is a prototype slot guy, in and out of cuts, super fast, can make people miss. I love this kid, and he's already in the second team, like in the lineup in the second team. Love this kid.
Yeah, I think he's going to get playing time. I think he will be a part of this offense, and maybe not a starter, but it wouldn't shock me if he was, I don't know, what's the upside? Third, fourth on the team in yards, receiving yards. If he's fourth.
Oh, wow.
I think that's his upside. I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't shock me if he's between fourth or eighth. I think that's kind of what we're looking at. I think I say that because I think he's going to have a role. I really do.
I can see it. Especially we don't know what is going on with Javarius Johnson. You know, there was the whole talk about him, you know, possibly going into the portal. He's kind of screwed himself on not being able to go to another SEC school. So maybe he's just you know, cleaning some stuff up. He'll get back soon. But I mean, if something were to happen there, I feel fine. I almost feel fine with you know, you got Jay Fair now, who's already coming in ready to go, sort of waiting in the wings. So
it's not. And we had this conversation months ago when I think it was before Kobe left, or maybe we had it after Kobe left in response to this. But like, slot receiver is not the concern. Like, I don't think slot is really where Auburn needs help in this offense. It's outside guys.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
So I'm with you. If something were to happen to Javarius, I don't think that's the case. I think he's just having to miss practice. But whether it's Tavares or Jay Fair, or heck, even Capers, you know, I still like Zevion Capers and what he brings to the field and what we saw him do. He operated out of the slot primarily as a freshman when Gus started him, and so I don't think slot is the issue. It's the outside guys. So right now it looks like that Shed and Malcolm Johnson Jr. I do think it's worth sharing that Landon King appears to be getting all his reps at tight end right now.
Exclusively at tight end, it seems, which is, at least from what we've seen in the open period.
Sure.
Could be by design. But, yeah, we keep hearing this. He's going to be the big, you know, NFL 6'5" outside guy. I hope that, you know, we're not being teased. I hope that's actually going to be a thing.
That'd be nice. That would be nice. Anything else on pass catchers that we need to spend a second on?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that was the last big thing. Landon King working pretty much exclusively at tight end so far in the open period, viewable period.
Yeah, and he was like the third or the fourth tight end too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. It's March. It's okay.
Don't do this to me. We need one. We need a legend to come true. Like, we need a spring legend to happen, don't we? Bad.
Yes, we need it. We need it for the program. We need it for the program. There's no question about it. All right, let's talk about the defense in just a moment, but I want to tell you about our friends at BetOnline. BetOnline is the best place to wager on all kinds of sports action. And I encourage you to go to betonline.net to check out all of the information and the lines and the props. And if you think Arkansas is going to make a run, their odds are you can make a lot of money if you think they can win their region. I was really eyeballing that earlier today. It's like, I think they can beat Gonzaga, but we'll see. Go to betonline.net, BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Charlie 5, let's talk a little defense.
Let's do it.
Position group that I think is very intriguing. I really think all three levels of the defense are intriguing, and I'm not just saying that, but let's talk defense or linebackers, excuse me. So Cam Riley and Wesley Steiner were the main two. And then we had Eugene Asante, the North Carolina transfer, rotating in and out with those guys. Obviously, Owen Pappoe is gone, so it's not really what it's going to look like, but it's giving us some information. It also sounds like Owen Pappoe is very involved in practice, which is expected. He's going to be a captain on this team, you would have to think. So, what kind of information do you pull from Cam Riley and Wesley Steiner being the first two, and then Eugene Asante rotating in with the absence of Owen Pappoe?
Well, I mean, I guess that gives you at least a look at your pecking order right now. It looks like you got, I don't know which one, I don't really know hacker position because we run nickel so often, like how those two in the middle are interchangeable. Right. Like, I don't know if like Wesley Steiner plays more of Owen's role, and like when he pops out, Owen pops in, but Cam Riley is the lock in, or if they're interchangeable. I don't really know exactly how that works, but it kind of there's a little bit of a pecking order that you can see where sort of Eugene Asante, it's understandable. You're coming in from a new system, you're kind of learning. Those guys have been here for several years. So, but boy, do I want Cam Riley on this football field. I want that child on the field. I want all 6'5", 230 of him standing there in the middle, ready to break face masks. And I just picture a rangy 6'5" dude and Owen who can literally run anybody down from anywhere. And it just seems like that could be a dynamic duo right there in the middle. What do you think?
I think it's going to be beautiful. I think it's going to be wonderful. When reports came out that we saw Cam Riley getting reps at edge, it's just like, what is about to happen with this guy? And I don't really know the answer to that, because that just tells me that they're going to put him on the field, and they're probably going to put him on the field on third down, which is exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Eugene Asante, I've watched a little bit of his North Carolina stuff after he committed, and I watched a little bit more about 2 weeks ago. And he doesn't seem like the same kind of linebacker as what we think Cam Riley is going to be, and really Wesley Steiner. And so I don't fully know how they're going to use him. I think he can be athletic, but if he's not just kind of in the middle of the field, like trying to clog a gap, I mean, that's just how they used him a lot in North Carolina based on what I've been able to pick up. So I don't know exactly how they are going to use him.
Yeah.
But that's an intriguing name for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just who gets the final nod, like who's going to be standing there beside Owen. And you know, another thing reading this list is like Cam and Wesley are pretty dang good players in and of themselves. And then Eugene was a starter at UNC for quite a while, and they've had a fairly decent you got a pretty deep linebacker room. Like we lost some last year, and we thought this year we might be struggling, but kind of have a little bit of a you got some options there.
Well, we said that last year, and then one of them got hurt, and then they were all playing like 80 plus snaps a game. So I don't know if that's actually true.
Yeah, you got guys that got experience. Like you got multiple guys that have experience now. So that can, you could find some silver linings there.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Let's talk just for a second about the edge, guys. There was a lot of video put out about the edge.
About an hour.
Eku Leota.
Unit.
Absolute unit, man. That guy's
unit.
He's so big. He seems to me that he is moving so much better. And obviously we talked about how much bigger he is. Derek Hall looks like an NFL pass rusher. Like physically. He just looks like an NFL pass rusher.
He looks like an avatar. He looks like an avatar to me. He is just a creative player. All 99s, it looks like, with a lot of wristbands. He is he's just a freak. He's a freak.
And he knows it. So he's like, I'm going to pull my jersey up and you're going to look at me. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm going to. I guess I am. I don't know. And then Dylan Brooks looks good.
Yes. Physically, body has changed. Physically, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't look like – I guess he's a redshirt freshman, right?
Yeah.
So doesn't look like a redshirt freshman. Looks like a fully developed player. And so I can't wait to see what that rotation looks like. I would assume on third down you got Derek Hall and Eku.
Yeah.
And then, you rotate Dylan in. Can you move any of those guys inside? Probably not. I mean, on third down, I'm just thinking like who scoots inside, because early downs, you're probably more likely to have like a Zacchaeus Walker in there for different reasons. I think he's pretty versatile. But I mean, there's just so much they can do with this defensive front. And I mean, props to Coach Jimmy. I mean, he is coming in with a ton of toys to play with. So I can't wait to see what Coach Brumbaugh does.
It's just it's nice to have what seemingly multiple options to be able to rush. In the past, it seems like we only have one guy, or and now you can do multiple things. And I love a 3-4 defense because it lets you get a lot of bigger, fast, rangy guys on the field that can get after the passer. And I love that room, man. I love that. I love Dylan, the Eku Leota, and then you got Derek Hall, the leader in there. And those dudes, a lot of they kind of look they all kind of have a similar body type. I mean, Eku's a little bit bigger. Eku's a little bit bigger because he's a unit.
Absolute unit.
But yeah, that's a good group right there. That's a good 3 solid pass rushers right there to have.
Yeah. I mean, I think Dylan and Derek look more like guys you would stand up, like 3-4 outside linebackers. And I think Eku to me looks more like a 4-3 defensive end.
He does. That's a great. He does.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
It's not to say that he can't do both. It's just that's what he looks like, and I think him being an absolute unit is a big part of that. And then you just talk about these dudes, and it's like freaking Kobe Wooden is on the inside of all of that. It's gonna be fun, man, because you can't double team any of them. You can't double team Derek Hall ever. And he's gonna get a lot of sacks. So, anything else on the defensive side of the ball that you want to talk about? Any kind of notes or anything that you saw in a clip or anything?
I'm trying to think. I'm actually looking at them right now, and just
actually, Charlie 5. I know where we need to go next. We need to go to. We haven't talked about this since it happened. Brian Harsin doing the gritty. Can you break that down for me?
Oh, man. I saw the video, and he put a really good effort in. He had several examples of how to do it right before he did it. And you know what? He went out there and did it. And more human, I guess, human feeling personable to his players. Good for you, Coach. Good move there.
Yep, and props to Auburn's marketing team for getting that video, and then they even sent it out on their media email list where like, here are all the pictures of Harsin. Like, you have to use these. Like, it's crazy. It's awesome. It's awesome. They're pushing it. They're pushing him as being more approachable, and I think it's great. I think it's really, really good. And so I think he did fine. I think he did fine on the execution of the gritty, and I am in no way an expert, but I was into it.
I'm with you. I'm not an expert on the gritty, but you know what? I liked it. So good job.
Good job. How can people find you, hear you, support you, all of that?
Absolutely. Good stuff. Find me on Twitter, _Charlie_5, auburnlive.com, the Locked On Auburn Discord, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the Dad Bod Golf Pod.
I think you're going to laugh at yourself when you watch this back.
Is it bad lagging? I don't know what's going on. I feel like I have
the same thing. Yeah, you've got all your bars. I
don't know what the heck's happening.
Get ready for the Discord to start poking you. Just get ready for it.
I can't wait.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow right here on Locked On Auburn.